My name is Julie. I am 29 years old. I live in a small town. I used to think marriage was simple. You love someone, and they love you back. You stay together. You talk, you laugh, you help each other. That's what I believed. But I was wrong. When I met Bryan, I was happy. He was kind and funny. He asked about my day. He listened to my stories. He smiled when I laughed. He made me feel safe. We met at a birthday party. My friend Lily introduced us. Bryan said I looked happy. I said I liked his shoes. We talked for hours. I went home that night with a big smile. 2 weeks later, we met again. Then again. And again. Bryan was nice at the start. He called me every day. He asked how I felt. He wanted to see me often. I felt special. After 6 months, he asked me to be his girlfriend. I said yes. I really liked him. After 1 year, he asked me to marry him. I said yes again. We had a small wedding. My parents came. His parents came too. Everyone said we looked happy. The first year of marriage was good. We watched movies together. We cooked dinner together. We talked every night. I liked being his wife. I thought he liked being my husband. But slowly, things started to change. Bryan started coming home late. At first, he said he was tired. Then he said he had work. But he never told me what kind of work. He didn't want to talk much. He looked at his phone all the time. He smiled at it. But he didn't smile at me. One night, I asked him, "Why are you always on your phone?" He looked at me and said, "Don't start." I said, "I'm not starting. I'm asking." He stood up and walked away. That night, we didn't eat dinner together. He didn't even say goodnight. After that, I stopped asking questions. I waited for him to come home. Some nights he came late. Some nights he didn't come at all. He didn't call. He didn't say sorry. I sat on the sofa, waiting, every night. The food got cold. My heart did too. I still tried. I made his favorite food. I cleaned the house. I smiled when he came home. I asked him how his day was. He only said, "Fine." Then he went to bed. No kiss. No hug. Just silence. One day, I told my friend Lily. She said, "Maybe he's just tired." I wanted to believe that, but deep down, I knew something was wrong. Bryan was not the man I married. He was a stranger now. One weekend, I planned a dinner. I made pasta and bought a small cake. I wore my favorite dress. I waited for him to come home. I looked at the clock every 10 minutes. At 7 p.m., he didn't come. At 8, he didn't call. At 9, I sat at the table alone. At 10:30, he walked in. He looked surprised. "What's all this?" he asked. I smiled and said, "Dinner. I wanted to eat with you." He looked at the table. Then he looked at me. "I'm not hungry," he said. Then he went to the bedroom. I sat down and ate alone. The food tasted like nothing. My eyes burned. My hands shook. But I didn't cry. Not that night. The next morning, he didn't say a word. He took his keys and left. I sat on the bed, still in my dress. The room felt cold. My heart felt empty. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to fix it. That week, I watched him more. I watched how he looked at me. He didn't. I watched how he talked to me. He didn't. I tried to hold his hand. He moved it away. I smiled at him. He didn't smile back. I felt like I was the only one in the marriage. One night, I tried again. "Bryan," I said, "can we talk?" He looked at me with tired eyes. "Julie, I'm busy." I said, Please, 5 minutes. He sighed and sat down. I said, "Are you happy?" He didn't answer. I asked again, "Are you still happy with me?" He said, "I don't know." My heart dropped. I said, "Did I do something wrong?" He shook his head. "No," he said. "I just feel different now." I looked at him. "Different how?" I asked. He looked away. "I don't know. I just don't feel the same." I couldn't speak. My mouth was dry. My chest felt tight. I stood up and went to the kitchen. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry, but I did nothing. I just stood there. That night, I didn't sleep. I looked at him while he slept. He looked peaceful. I didn't. I looked at the wall for hours. My heart beat fast. My hands felt cold. The next day, I made coffee and sat in the living room. He left early. He didn't say goodbye. I looked at the door. I looked at my ring. I looked at the cold cup in my hand. I asked myself, is this love? Later that day, I walked to the small park near our home. I sat on a bench and watched the trees move in the wind. A little girl played with her mother on the grass. They laughed together. The sound hurt me. It reminded me of what I wanted. A family. A warm home. A man who cared. I looked at my phone. No messages from Bryan. No missed calls. I waited a little longer, then walked home slowly. Every step felt heavy. When I opened the door, the house was quiet. Bryan was not there. I sat on the sofa and looked at our wedding photo. We both looked happy in the picture. We were smiling. We were close. I touched the glass frame and felt a tear on my cheek. How did we get here? When did we stop being us? I stood up and went to the kitchen. I made toast and ate alone. Again. The silence in the room felt loud. It was not just the house that was empty. I was empty too, and deep inside I started to ask myself a hard question. What if he didn't love me anymore? The next morning, I woke up early. Bryan's side of the bed was cold. He had already left. Again. I looked at the clock. It was only 6 a.m. I sat up and stared at the floor. My heart felt heavy. My head hurt. I wanted to sleep more, but I couldn't. I had too many thoughts in my mind. Before we continue with the story, I'd love to hear from you. Which part of the world are you listening from today? Leave a comment below, and if this story touched your heart, please subscribe. For more simple and emotional English stories, I got dressed and made a simple breakfast. Toast and tea. I sat at the table alone. I looked at my phone. Still no message from Bryan. Not even good morning. I wanted to send him a message, but I stopped myself. I didn't want to look weak. I didn't want to beg. Later that day, I went to the store. I walked slowly through the aisles. I picked up bread, milk, and a few vegetables. I wasn't hungry, but I needed food in the house. As I stood in line, I saw a couple holding hands. They were laughing, talking. The woman smiled and touched the man's arm. He smiled back. I turned away. At home, I put the food away. I sat on the sofa and stared at the wall. I didn't turn on the TV. I didn't play music. I didn't do anything. I just sat there, thinking. Bryan came home late that night. I heard the door open. I stayed on the sofa. He walked in, took off his shoes, and went to the kitchen. He didn't say hello. He didn't ask how I was. I waited a few minutes, then stood up. I walked to the kitchen. He was eating bread and drinking juice. "Hi," I said. He looked at me and gave a small nod. Hi. I waited for him to say more, but he didn't. Can we talk? I asked. He didn't look happy. He sighed. Julie, I'm tired. I know, I said, but we never talk anymore. He looked down. What do you want to talk about? Us, I said. He stayed quiet for a moment. Then he said, I don't know what to say. I looked at him. Are we okay? I asked. He shrugged. I don't know. Do you still love me? He looked away. I don't know, Julie. I just feel different now. His words broke something inside me. I wanted to cry, but I didn't. I just stood there. My hands were cold. My heart felt small. I try, Bryan, I said softly. I try every day. He didn't answer. That night I cried in the bathroom. I didn't want him to hear me. I turned on the water so the sound would hide my tears. I sat on the floor and cried into my hands. I cried for the love we had. I cried for the silence between us. I cried because I didn't know what else to do. The next few days were the same. He left early. He came home late. He didn't talk much. I tried to smile, but it felt fake. I tried to cook, but he never said thank you. We were two people in the same house, but it didn't feel like home. One evening, I found his shirt on the floor. It had lipstick on the collar. I stared at it. My hands shook. My heart started to race. I picked it up and looked closer. Yes, it was red lipstick. I never wore red lipstick. I sat on the bed and held the shirt in my hands. I didn't move. I didn't cry. I just sat there, frozen. When Bryan came home, I was still in the room. The shirt was on the bed. He saw it. He stopped at the door. I looked at him. Whose is it? I asked. He said nothing. Bryan, I said again. Whose is it? He looked away. It's not what you think. Then what is it? I asked. My voice was shaking now. He walked over and sat on the chair. He didn't look at me. It just happened, he said. What happened? I asked. He didn't speak. I felt like the air left the room. I felt like the floor moved. My body felt cold. My heart felt like glass. You cheated on me? I asked. He didn't answer. I stood up. I couldn't look at him. I couldn't breathe. I opened the window. I needed air. I needed space. Julie, he said. It was a mistake. I turned around. A mistake? I said. I wait for you every night. I try to talk to you. I try to make things better. And you... cheat? He said. I didn't mean to. You didn't mean to kiss someone else? I said. You didn't mean to hurt me? He stood up. I don't know how to fix this. I looked at him. Maybe you can't. He sat down again and put his head in his hands. I'm sorry, he said. But his sorry didn't fix anything. His sorry didn't take away the pain. His sorry didn't bring back the man I married. That night, I slept on the sofa. I didn't want to be near him. I couldn't. The next morning, I packed a small bag. I didn't know where I would go, but I needed to leave the house. I needed time to think. Before I walked out the door, he said, Julie, please don't go. I looked at him. I need time, I said. I need to breathe. He didn't stop me. He just stood there. I walked out. The sun was bright. The world looked the same. But I was not the same. My heart was hurt. My trust was broken. And I didn't know if I could ever go back. I walked with no plan. I just needed to be away from that house, from Bryan, from the pain. I called my friend Lily and asked if I could stay with her. She said yes without asking questions. "Come," she said. "You're not alone." When I got to her place, she gave me a hug. I didn't speak. I just stood there in her arms. I felt safe for the first time in many weeks. She made me tea, and we sat on the sofa. "What happened?" she asked. I told her everything. I told her about the silence, the cold dinners, the lipstick on his shirt. I told her about the pain in my chest, the empty space in my bed, the way I no longer knew the man I married. Lily listened. She didn't speak much. She just held my hand. "You don't deserve that," she said softly. "You are kind. You gave your all, and he gave you pain." I nodded. My eyes were wet, but I didn't cry. Not yet. I was too tired. That night I slept in Lily's guest room. The bed was small, but I felt peaceful. I didn't wake up in the middle of the night. I didn't wait for the sound of a door. I just slept. In the morning, Lily made toast and eggs. We sat together and ate. I told her I was not ready to go back. She said, "Stay as long as you need." Days passed. I stayed quiet. I read books. I walked in the park. I helped Lily with small things at home. I didn't call Bryan. He didn't call me, not even once. One afternoon, I checked my phone. Still no message from him. Not even, "Are you okay?" That hurt more than the cheating, more than the silence. He didn't even try. Later that week, I went back to the house to get more clothes. I didn't want to see him. I hoped he wouldn't be there. When I opened the door, the house was quiet. I walked to the bedroom. My side of the closet was untouched. My shoes were where I left them. I packed what I needed and stopped for a moment. I looked at our photo on the wall, our wedding photo. We looked so happy. I stared at it, then slowly took it down. I put it face down on the table. I didn't take it with me. Just then, I heard the front door. "Bryan." He stopped when he saw me. "Julie," he said. I didn't speak. He walked closer. "I didn't know you'd be here." "I came to get my things," I said. He looked down. "I miss you," he said. I didn't answer. "I think about you every day," he added. "I know I hurt you. I know I made mistakes." I looked at him. "You didn't just make a mistake, Bryan. You made a choice." He said, "I was lost." "And now?" I asked. "I want you to come back," he said. "Please." I felt my heart twist. Part of me missed him. Part of me still loved him. But most of me felt empty. "I don't know if I can," I said. "Can we try again?" he asked. "I can change. I want to fix this." I shook my head. "Why didn't you say that before? Why didn't you call me even once?" He had no answer. "You didn't fight for me, Bryan," I said. "You let me walk away." "I thought you needed space," he said weakly. "I needed love," I said. "I needed your voice. I needed you to say, 'I care.' But you didn't." He sat down. He looked small. Not like the man I once loved. Not like the man I married. "I'm sorry," he said again. But I had heard that before. I packed the last few things and stood up. I don't know what will happen next, I said. But I need time. I need to heal. He looked at me, but he didn't stop me. Again. I left the house and walked back to Lily's. I didn't cry, but I felt cold inside, like something deep inside me had broken. That night, Lily gave me a blanket and hot tea. She didn't ask questions. She just sat with me. The next few days were quiet. I wrote down my thoughts, just for myself. Not in a diary, not for anyone else. Just small notes on paper to help me understand my own pain. I wrote, I gave him everything. He gave me distance. I tried to fix it. He didn't try at all. It helped a little. Weeks passed. I started feeling like myself again. I smiled more. I slept better. I even laughed with Lily. I still missed what I thought we had, but I didn't miss the silence. I didn't miss the pain. One Sunday, Bryan sent me a message. Can we meet? I stared at the screen. I waited. Then I replied, okay, 1 hour, at the park. I didn't know what I would say. I didn't know what he wanted, but I needed to hear him one last time. I arrived at the park early. I sat on a bench under a tall tree. The sky was gray. The wind was soft. I watched the leaves move. My hands were cold, but I didn't care. My heart beat faster with every passing minute. I didn't know how this would end. After 10 minutes, I saw him. Bryan walked slowly toward me. He wore the same jacket he always did. His hair was messy. He looked tired, but he smiled when he saw me. Hi, he said. I nodded. Hi. He sat beside me, but not too close. There was silence for a while. Then he spoke. I've been thinking a lot. I waited. I didn't treat you right, he said. I pushed you away. I stayed silent when I should have talked. I didn't fight for us. I looked at him. He kept his eyes on the ground. I know I made a big mistake, he said. I didn't see how much you were hurting, and I didn't try to stop the pain. I didn't say anything. I miss you every day, he said. The house feels empty without you. I looked away. I felt empty for months, Bryan. Even when I was there. You didn't see me. He nodded. I know, and I'm sorry. I turned to him. Why now? Why talk now? I thought I could handle the silence, he said. But I can't. I miss your laugh, your smile, even your silly questions. I gave a small laugh, but it didn't last long. I don't trust you, I said. I'm not sure I can again. He looked at me. I'll do anything to earn that back. I don't want promises, I said. I've heard those before. I want truth. Bryan nodded. Then the truth is, I was scared. I didn't feel good enough. So I ran from you. I ran into someone else's arms, not because I loved her, but because I was weak. I breathed in deep. His words hurt, but they were honest. I didn't stop loving you, he said, but I forgot how to show it. I looked at him. You forgot me, Bryan. That's what hurt most. He looked down. I know. We sat in silence again. Then I said, I needed you to see my pain, but you never looked. I see it now, he whispered. I don't know if that's enough, I replied. Bryan looked into my eyes. Do you want to try again? I paused. My chest felt tight. I wanted to say yes, but I didn't trust my heart. I don't know, I said. I need time. I need space. I need to love myself again. I'll wait, he said. I'm not asking you to, I replied. This is my time now. You had yours. He nodded. I understand. We stood up. He reached for my hand, but I stepped back. Goodbye, Bryan, I said. He didn't stop me this time either, but I didn't cry. I walked home with my head high. My heart was still bruised, but not broken. Not anymore. Over the next few weeks, I focused on myself. I helped Lily around the house. I took long walks. I cooked for fun. I called my parents and laughed with them. I started to remember who I was before the pain. Bryan sent me a message once a week. Just simple words. I hope you're okay. Thinking of you. I'm still here. But I didn't reply. I didn't hate him. I didn't love him the same way either. I was still healing. One evening, Lily and I sat outside. The stars were bright. You're stronger now, she said. I smiled. I feel that too. You still love him? She asked. I don't know, I replied. But I love myself more now. She smiled. That's the most important thing. A few days later, Bryan sent one last message. I won't bother you again, but I want you to know I will always care for you. I didn't cry when I read it. I felt peace. Months passed. I moved into my own small flat. It was quiet, but it was mine. I bought new pillows, soft lights, and one small photo for the wall. Not of us, just a flower. One Sunday, I met someone new. His name was Adam. He was kind. We met through a friend. He listened when I spoke. He asked questions. He smiled with his eyes. I didn't fall in love right away. I didn't want to rush. I wanted to grow slowly. Adam and I had coffee once a week, then twice, then walks, then talks. I told him my story. He didn't judge. He just said, "Thank you for sharing." I felt safe. I felt seen. One night, I stood by the window. The city lights blinked in the dark. I thought of Bryan, not with pain, not with anger, just as someone I once loved. He was my past. I was now in the present, and I was finally free. A few months later, I saw Bryan again. It was in the supermarket. I was buying fruit. He stood in the next aisle holding a basket. Our eyes met. For a moment, we both stood still. Then he walked over. "Hi," he said. "Hi," I replied. He looked different, a little thinner, a little older, but calm. "You look well," he said. "Thank you," I said. "I'm doing okay." He smiled. "That makes me happy." We stood in silence for a moment. Then he said, "I'm sorry again. For everything." "I know," I said. "I never stopped caring about you," he said. "I believe you," I said softly. "But I'm okay now. I found peace." He nodded. "You always deserved more." I gave him a small smile. "So did you. But we forgot how to love each other." He looked down. "You're right." We didn't say more. He gave a short wave and walked away. I watched him go. My heart didn't ache. It didn't hurt. It just felt still. Later that night, I sat on my bed, looked out the window, and felt light. Bryan was part of my story, but not the whole story. I had more chapters to live, and I was ready to turn the page. I hope you have enjoyed the story. Like and comment if you want to hear more soon.